podcast. My name is Madison Sheets, and I'm here with my fellow news anchor, Gabrielle and Carr. Our topic of the day is everything's 50s. We will be discussing everything from this decade, including fads, boycotts, wars, and entertainment. Starting with fashion and consumerism, here's Ms. Ann Carr.
Hi, this is Cabby, and now for the newest fashion trends and consumer information of the 1950s. The 1950s was the beginning of one of the biggest economic booms in the history of the United States. It started the rise of consumerism and American access that has defined a lot of our culture in the United States and worldwide for the past 60 years. During World War II and the 1940s, clothing was greatly influenced by limiting the amount of fabric, so the most popular look was a simple outfit. When World War II ended, new types of fabrics and larger quantities of these fabrics allowed a new type of fashion to bloom during the 50s. All the men wore suits with bloomer knickers and fedoras. They were now allowed to be bare-chested in public. Teenage boys also wore leather jackets and had greased hair and worked on cars. Women wore low neckline evening dresses and boned strapless dresses in taffetas, lace, nets, chiffon, satin, and nylon. Ladies wore blouses, gathered four-bore skirts, tapered slats, and Bermuda shorts. Tops had lower necklines and shoulder straps that buttoned to the bodice. Pants were made with featured pleats in the front, and teenage girls wore poodle skirts and wore their hair curly. Since people now had more money, they could afford to buy TVs, radios, toasters, and name-brand cars, such as Ford and Cadillac. Employment and higher wage opportunities rose. Many whites moved out of crowded cities into the suburbs. The American consumer was praised as a patriotic citizen in the 1950s, contributing to the ultimate success of the American way of life.
Hello and welcome to the other side of the 1950s. I'm Morgan, and like Ms. Ann Carr stated, I will be talking about the politics of the 50s. To start off, President Truman served from 1945 to 1952, and he believed that if he supported Vietnamese independence, he would weaken the anti-communist forces in France. Soon after his presidency, Eisenhower took office early in 1953. He continued Truman's policies in Vietnam. Eisenhower led the U.S. during a time of exuberant growth and prosperity. On December 1st, 1955, an African-American woman named Rosa Parks sat down in an empty bus seat. The bus driver told her to get up and move to the back of the bus so a white passenger could sit, and she said no. Her actions led to a chain of events that transformed the civil rights movement. Another event in history is the Brown versus Board case, which is one of the most controversial cases in American history. It ended segregation in schools, and the Little Rock Nine was formed. They enrolled 9 African-American students to protest segregation in schools. George Wallace made it clear as day where he stood in regards to segregation. He said, I said segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and by golly, segregation forever. Now I'm dividing Perez on the Cold War and McCarthyism.
Thanks, Morgan. Like she said, I'll be talking about the Cold War and McCarthyism. The Soviet Union, under the rule of dictator Joseph Stalin, created an oppressive communist regime that made all key economic, political, and military decisions for its people. The USSR held control of various Eastern European countries called satellite states. Stalin refused to allow free elections in these countries, creating a tense relationship with the United States. This set the stage for the long 46-year struggle that was known as the Cold War, because the US and USSR never faced each other directly in hot military fighting. President Truman began appealing to Congress for money to help European nations fight the influence of communism, enforcing America's containment policy and bringing about the creation of the Truman Doctrine and Marshall Plans. In response, the Soviets tried to exert more force on their satellite states, eventually enacting a blockade on the city of Berlin, especially the eastern side. The attempt failed, however, with the US and Great Britain responding by dropping supplies and resources to East Berliners, later recalled as the Berlin Airlift. As time went by, the US discovered something that changed the tide of the war. The Soviets had tested an atomic bomb. This revelation resulted in the mass buildup and testing of many nuclear weapons in both countries, known as the arms race. The new president, Dwight D. Eisenhower, focused on stockpiling these weapons because he believed that if an actual conflict was ever to erupt, it would be nuclear. The Soviet Union also gained a new leader at this time after Stalin's death, named Nikita Khrushchev. His policy seemed like a small step towards building more peaceful relationships between America and the USSR. Yet with the growing concern of communism throughout the world, the concern on the home front grew as well. Americans became paranoid about a communist coup d'etat occurring in the United States, and suspicions were high. A Wisconsin senator named Joseph McCarthy made a certain speech charging the State Department with being infested with communist agents. Over time, he made a long list of names that he thought were guilty of having communist ties or sympathies in any way. His accusations caught Americans' attention, branding the name McCarthyism to define any extreme or reckless communist charges over the years. His allegations caused uproars between the American people, causing many to lose jobs and credibility. However, he lost the court in 1954 after a hearing involving accusations against the United States Army revealed to people his true colors, being a reckless bully towards others to gain personal fame. Now back to Madison in the studio.
Hello, it's Madison, back again to move on to the less depressing topics. The 1950s was a major era in history for music and entertainment. With the emergence of a generation of more rebellious youth in the 50s, a new type of sound was born. Rock and roll dominated the popular music during this decade, inspiring the young to break away from the traditional values of mainstream society. Thus, many adults during this time disapproved of the influence rock and roll was having on their children. However, rock and roll quickly became a widespread sensation among millions. This new genre originated from African American musical genres such as blues and the gospel music. Some of the most influential and legendary rock and roll artists of this decade were Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and Little Richard. Elvis being the most well known for his charisma, onstage personality, and of course, hips. His main dance moves can be best described as a gyrating movement of his hips, and he was favored for always putting on a show for his millions of fans. The electric guitar also became very popular, as well as showmanship and guitar solos. The effects of rock and roll in the United States are far-reaching even today, as its influence is evident in modern American culture, lifestyle, and society. The Beat Generation was also a big part of the 1950s. It was a group of authors whose literature explored and influenced the American culture. This generation mostly influenced the post-World War II era with its rejection of standardized values and materialism and its promotion of nonconformity and creativity. The members primarily consisted of young people desperately seeking freedom within a tightly wound society. Core Beat Generation authors included individuals such as Allen Ginsberg, Herbert Hunk, and many others. Each of these writers explored out-of-the-box ideas such as a more diverse search for spirituality, drug use, and poverty. They influenced many people during the 50s, and their lasting impression changed the way that many Americans viewed them.
Thanks for watching the U.S. History News broadcast. I'm Maya.
And I'm Madison, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Madison, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. And I'm Madison, and we will see you. What am I doing right now? Okay, let's just do it. And I'm Madison, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. How should we do that one? Should we just wave?
Yeah, I was good.
No,
Ooh, never know, it's so awkward.
Okay.
I can't even wake up with like.
Like this.
Time of exuberant and
Just.
I say segregation now. I segregation tomorrow. Why did I laugh?
Finish it!
Say it. Just say it. I said segregation now. Just say it right now.
I said segregation now. Segregation tomorrow. Oh, I got to put the hand movements. I said segregation now. Segregation tomorrow. Segregation forever. Now introducing Maya.
Hold on, no.
Controversial and
Controversial case in America. In American history.
next.
Who wrote this? Y'all know how to spell?
I was just having fast. I can read it.
Maya, look happy.
My eye itches, y'all.
Your eye, I can hear it clicking.
George Watt.
His name is Wallace, not Wall.
I'm so
Hello, it's Madison. Back at it again. Back at it again with the white man. Okay.
Now to Maya Perez on the Cold War McCarthyism.
Wait, what? I was wrong. Gabrielle on card. I said it wrong again. I was trying to say. I was like, I know it's not that.
I think if we.
Okay.
And
Hello. It is currently. What time is it, Cabby?
11:07.
11:07 p.m. and we are tired. We
That's
do
really
not want to do
cool.
this
Hey,
anymore.
you
How
know,
fed up
hey.
are you?
I can't put it into words.
We are done with this project.